Hello everyone, i0386SX. Time for some vintage computer repair. It's so great to get back to it. So what we're staring at, if you watch my channel very closely, you probably know what this is. But in case you don't, obviously it is a battery. A battery out of a Compaq Contura first generation, nickel cadmium. Now this particular one, hold it up for the camera here, all nice and close. This particular one, I am going to put nickel metal hydride cells in it. Not nickel cadmium. For one, I don't think I'm going to have an easy time finding them even if I wanted to. And two, just want to see if it's going to work. I don't see why it wouldn't, as, you know, they're very similar. The Contura's first gens have both nickel metal hydride and nickel cadmium batteries. You'll also notice, and this is where we get to the cautionary tale of rebuilding this bad boy, there is absolutely no logic board on this battery. So I think our risk here is fairly low. But some things, before we get into this, that you must watch out for. Let's make sure I got my homework correct here. Where my pointer finger is, this terminal here all the way to the right is a negative. This one closest to this, the second closest to the right, that is a blank. So you don't have to do anything with that. Center and left center is this component right here. I believe it's a diode. And then the one all the way on the left is the positive. Or the negative. It's the two on the end are either or. And one thing I noticed is I did actually shove the guts of this back in. So when you do pull this out, you have to be real careful. Coming out, you're probably going to be okay. But going in, just take note, do not short negative or positive with the diode. I have no idea what it's going to do to it. So just bear that in mind. Now we can take our lovely little voltmeter here. A very expensive, high-end Astro AI Amazon Jeff Bezos special. You can kind of see it. Almost nothing. We should be good to pull this apart freely. And I don't know when the last time this thing was actually ever charged. Beyond the test that I did, I know it didn't hold a charge, so let's bust her apart. And we want to start with this side first. I will say, there's one thing I can say about the Contura, first gen Conturas. Some pieces of it actually had a little bit more logic with them versus like your LTE. Now, not everything, because I know there's going to be some people in the comments, oh, those hinges are the worst thing in the world. I'm not talking about hinges. I'm talking about battery design and the floppy drives. So, we got to get this out. You'll see very closely, or very soon. Oh, everything just lifted up like that. Okay. There's your shell. And yeah, so this end here is the positive. It's a nice little short one. Negative is a nice long one. And yeah, this wasn't going to take a charge regardless. Set that aside. If yours is destroyed, well, some good cloth electrical tape will fix that right up. For the most part, it's a pretty standard battery. Outside of the really long negative nickel strip. On this side, it's just a bunch of cells joined together. No issue there. No fuse, but a thermostat. Which I find kind of interesting. As always, you must take picture, or you should take picture, or document, whatever the case might be, of your battery layout. So I am going to go grab a permanent marker and mark this one up, then illustrate it, then print it, then begin. So in this case, we have our negative here. Positive, negative, positive, negative. And that's negative. Last but not least, positive. Look at that. There's no abnormalities in the layout. Your LTEs sure had. Now we take picture with phone. And probably the side that's facing me with the extra long nickel strips where the terminals go, that's the side you'll want to pay attention to more. In fact, I'm not sure if I got it all correctly. Yeah, I can work with that. So let's go fire up our old printer. But the good news is, you can leave the old one largely intact. You just need the diode, which looks like that's just taped on, so we can just grab that with some tape. That tape. And survey says, where are my scissors? There's my scissors. Now, it doesn't say who manufactured these cells. But I know one thing's for certain. The tape they used is damn good. And in my case, we have some of this hot glue, that's something or other. We gotta get that off, and we gotta get it off carefully. I know I'm not in camera at this point, but what are you gonna do? There we go. Came off. We want to set that off to the side. So next, we were going to get the negative nickel strip out. Gently pry this off with a tool of choice. My God, this thing's a difficult bastard. Same for the positive. I'm just taking a needle nose pliers and going about it. Positive gone, and the last thing we'll need for this battery is the thermostat. Surprisingly, this is the most replaceable piece of this, without creativity, I should say. Oh, that one fought me a little bit, but if you have a little corrosion, you can probably clean it up with a little vinegar and alcohol. And a protected peak just fell off, but that is not going to be a setback, so that is not the end of the world by any stretch of the imagination. And if yours becomes really brittle or you lose it, electrical tape will work fine. I use that in a lot of my rebuilds. There's a tape they use for crafty purposes. Oh, there's the piece. I can't think of what it's called right now, but it's either it comes in a shade of blue or like a brownish gold type. And if it could take that kind of heat, then you should be fine. Now, you'll notice that this piece here, I left out. We don't need that, so I'm not going to worry about it. It looks to me like this is just a really thick nickel strip. Maybe it tells some, maybe it has a model number or something, and maybe that's why they went the extra thick one there, but beyond that, I can't think of a reason why. So, we are now at the point of rebuild. It's like the Clintonville earthquake, we can rebuild. Yes, you caught that correctly if you thought about it, or whether you didn't. The little city of Clintonville, Wisconsin had an earthquake. And at the time of recording this, I want to say it was 2011 or 2012. Nothing like what they get in California, but they still had one. Now, lining things up is going to be everything here. You may not be able to use the battery itself for this, but I am a man of stubborn intentions, so I'm going to at least try. And you'll want to try and, of course, line it up like the old one was. So, positive is going to be on the left in my build. So you can get a piece of wood and probably do the same thing. As long as they all line up, you should be home free. But, you know, we're going to use today another battery. That's for most of it we're going to. Yeah. So this side, or the upper side if you will, the side that's facing away from the terminals, it's about as straightforward as it gets. You're just going to get some nickel strip and you're just going to connect down the line. You can't ask for much more than that. So, and if everything goes according to plan, I shouldn't even have to dig out a soldering iron for this. Spot welder hour has arrived. And I love that there's no fuse, only a thermostat. I may have to go do a magic of video editing moment here until I find the proper nickel strip. Well, good news is I found the thermostats. Bad news is I still haven't found my nickel strip. I'm going to do a quick pause on this. We'll go back to this once I have nickel strip in hand. Once you know it, as soon as I pause the camera, not even 10 seconds later, I found what I was looking for. I used the 0.1 by 5 nickel strips. This is just a plain old Jeff Bezos special. No secrets. I'm just more concerned about the thickness. You can use the 0.15 millimeter stuff too if your nickel strip will actually solder, or yeah, if your spot welder can actually handle it. That's what I meant to say. I've had some issues with that, so I reverted back to the 0.1. And as long as your battery is not moving around, much like any time you mail something, one of the big objects of the exercise is to make sure they don't move around. Otherwise, that's when things start to break. But and I'm not selling this particular battery, so this is going to be our first run. I'm actually a little surprised that the original didn't have any protectants up on this side, but you know what, I guess it's not necessary as long as it doesn't rub out on anything. Let's make a few of these right now. I say right now that this is a straightforward battery, but I have a feeling it's not going to be throughout the whole process. Just have this feeling. Just have a bad feeling about this. And if all you can find is the 0.1 millimeter by 4 millimeters wide, that will work fine too. And that's the downside of using these strips like I am. If you get a roll, you'll have less waste. If you try to cut two at once, you might have a bad time. There we be. So we got our first half is ready to at least make an attempt. Let's see what we can do. And so far, just because I largely did not have to disassemble the other battery, I don't have my picture out yet, but at some point I will get that out. And if you really wanted to, you probably could get away with skipping the picture if you're good, even if you're not. I was kidding on that last part. So, every spot welder is different. You just have to get a feel for what your spot welder does. On these hobbyist ones, you're probably going to be pretty close to maximum intensity. Let's be real. These things aren't anything super great, but they get the job done. If you find that these cheaper ones start sparking like mad, you either hit an edge or your intensity is too high. One of the two. Not in love with what this is doing so far, but it is doing the job. Definitely going to put a few of them on these. All right, so we got well on our way here. This is also not my first rodeo with these batteries. In fact, I am almost out of my case of 200. You know, and call this what you will, since these Conturas like to multiply in my house, I might as well give them a little love. This is the first step towards that. Now that nickel strip was questionably attached. But it's mine, and it's attached. And this thing's starting to heat up, so we know it's doing some work. So now you'll have 5 cells, like so. Flip them over. We're going to join forces first. Make sure they're as close as they can get. And as even as they can get. That's very important. Close and even. Otherwise, you will have a bad time. So now, you'll have 3 more of these to join. not including thermostat and positive and negative leads. Now, this row here, you're going to skip for now. These two you're going to skip. That's where your thermostat's going to go. Since I kind of cut this one, we might as well finish it off. If you did something stupid like I did and try to cut two of these at the same time, straighten it out first. You'll regret it if you don't. That one didn't do more damage. Yeah, that one ain't going very far, but that's all right. Well, now for now, we cut one more. I know, not particularly my greatest hour, but effective it is. Good enough for jazz. Now comes the fun. Thermostats and positive and negative leads. So now we got our little plastic piece here. You want to get that in there if yours isn't totally destroyed through the sands of time. Borrow a UXW bill term. Surprised he hasn't filed some kind of copyright. Stop using my terms. These will not line up perfectly, unless you're better than I am. In that case, it's probably not much of a stretch. Uh-oh. Are we off? No. We have no contact. So, little intermission. What I found with this particular nickel strip, if the leads start to get dark on the end, they just need a little attention with some from our good friend sandpaper. So, I'm gonna do that right now. I have another spot welder somewhere. It came with a little filing tool. I don't have that handy right now, but I do have some 60 grit sandpaper handy, so guess what wins? And nothing lasts forever, so there's that. Alright, let us try our luck again with a nice healthy thermostat fixing attempt number 2. Plastic piece like so. There we go. That's a little bit better. At least to acknowledge some nickel there. I'm going to attach that one way because I don't have a whole lot of room to work with. The good news is that I did make a statement earlier in the video, is that these thermostats are still available, albeit under a different name. If you want to get them straight from the source, I can tell you exactly what they are in a second. But I do know, before I even say that, I know the store is S&S Electronics. Ooh, well, it smelled good. Not really. Alright, let's see what we got here. I got one just like it here. It is a 70 Celsius. It's a thermal fuse. If you look for the brand Pepi, P-E-P-I is the replacement. I think it's like THPN-70. It's going to be a little bit smaller than this guy and the one that's on the Contura battery, but it'll do exactly what it's supposed to do. If the battery, for some odd reason, reaches 70 degrees Celsius, the circuit will shut down. And once that battery gets below 70 degrees Celsius, the circuit will resume its life again. So that's really what we got going on. Now, mine is actually in really good shape, so I'm happy about that. So this is going to help us getting our leads back on. The negative one should be the easier of the two, I think. It's a little bit of precision here, because if you get the measurements wrong, you're gonna be sorry. And I think it went something like that. Well, now I'm gonna grab the picture. Did so good. Yep, I was right. Now, if you do attach the paper like I do, just gotta be careful. I don't know how nickel strips handle versus paper. And that, my friend, is not what I'm looking for. So, same drill for the positive lead. We are going to straighten our lead out and attach it. Now, do bear in mind, this stuff is a little bit thicker. I want to guess this is the 0.15 stuff, or even 0.2, so how is it going to fare? I don't know. There we go. So for now, in theory, that should be it. Now, something that the Compaq, or whoever made these batteries for Compaq, did, they did tape things all around. Maybe this is a good time to do that. One thing I didn't do, and I wish I did it, was mark where these two leads go. Not entirely sure if it matters, but yeah, I think I got the curvier one goes on the left. Actually, I could still, not too late to correct my mistake, I guess. Where'd my marker go? Alright, there we go. Now we got our corrected my mistake. Put a little blue mark on there. You use whatever color you want. I'm not your father. And this is just regular old, well, it looks to me like it's regular old packing tape. But I don't think we're going to use that. I think we're going to use this stuff here. This is what I was talking about earlier. You can put this stuff in ovens and bake shirts with it. It's crazy. Now I tell you a little side story here. The Cricut people, that's a C-R-I-C-U-T, craft division. I believe they use this stuff a lot. And I gotta reattach that one, but that happens. And if you want a story, back to my Cricut story, if you want to, don't judge a book by its cover, you gotta go over to IBM Museum's channel once. A Cricut's, like I said, is typically a crafty thing. And here's this guy, bearded gentleman, looks like he hasn't touched anything like that a day in his life and never will, but he fixed a speaker thanks to the help of a Cricut machine. So, don't judge a book by its cover. Go like and subscribe his stuff. If you want IBM stuff that you'll never see here, that's the place to go. So I gotta reattach this bad boy. Maybe I don't have this all the way up. Contact on that side. Not exactly contacting anything, but we'll see. We'll see how that goes. And this may be the point where I'm going to try a little experiment here. I'm going to try and tuck my diode in first, and we'll see how that goes. It may backfire spectacularly. Yeah, there we go. So there we are. We're attached. I did not even get that straight. It's just something else, ain't it? We'll try to get the positive side in first. That's definitely going to be the path of greater resistance. Well, what the hell? I don't want to go in. What in the wide world? Maybe if I do this offline, it might go in. Maybe? Seems the way my luck is going. The second I turn off the camera, it goes in right away, right? Yeah, not quite. That's exactly what I'm going to do. So, you can tell I almost have it in, but it's not quite in. So, I'll try to get this one offline in the hopes that my theory holds true. My God, what a job. That's all I got to say. So, yeah, if these leads are not bent perfectly, you're going to have a bad time. Took me probably 15 minutes to get these lined up correctly. Yes, I am that special. So, next thing is next. Let's get some voltage to this thing and let's see what we can do. So I think this is negative, yep. And 13 volts just about, so we have a circuit. We have life. We have good times ahead, I hope. Now comes the query of this cover. Oh my lord, the cover. Also make sure you don't drop nickel strips. Make sure you don't have any corgi hair on them either. That is generally not something that batteries like. But I think for the time being, I think I can get away with the crafter's tape. And unfortunately, I did not fit this battery together quite perfectly because there is a bulge, particularly where the thermostat is. So I think if I can fold this down somehow, some way, we should be home free. We'll do a pull and yank type thing. Let's see where my problem is. Otherwise, this cover fits perfectly. And I see our second part of our problem is that this stupid plastic component might be also in our way. Alright, so may have to take this one offline too, and I'm going to be kind of annoyed if I do, but we shall see. This is being a real pain in the you-know-where. At the end of the day, as long as the two leads aren't touching, it doesn't have to look great. Just gonna make sure there is no chance that the two leads will touch. Or you break it off completely like an idiot. Yeah, that damn thermostat is, I think, gonna get in my way here, but I have a feeling there's another problem here. Make sure my voltage is still home free here, because I did hear a snap. Yep. Unfortunately, I broke another spot weld off, so that means I gotta take this whole damn thing out and start over. Okay, we're taking that one offline, obviously. As Homer Simpson said about the chore hat, this is just a practice. I cannot for the life of me get rid of that damn bulge. Now, alternatively, I don't necessarily recommend it, but if you're in a pinch and you really want that battery to be flattened and you don't want to take it apart, you can just get rid of the thermostat. I doubt a 386 or a 486 base laptop is going to do anything outrageous. And in fact, if you get one up to 70 degrees Celsius, well, you got some talent there. Or a very warm environment. We're still reading 13. That is wonderful. So now comes the test of will. Now we gotta find one of these computers that keep multiplying and get it out. Front row stage. There's one. Got a bunch of these pieces. Can you do something? I got one I can't get out. Uh-oh. Well, we got maybe a problem on our hands, but it's not at the fault of what I did here tonight. We've got a little bit of a corrosion problem. And a broken pin. Well, that's not good. Fortunately, it's not the dummy pin. So, back to the drawing board. I don't believe that. That pin just literally just broke off. Yeah. Alright, I gotta find another one. Bear with us here for 1 second and we'll gather our technical difficulties. Let's go to the other side of the room. What are you? You, my friend, are a 425. You will do, provided we don't have another terminal break off like we just did. I think it's solder replacement. A little bit better. Now we try to shove this thing in. Outside of a little bulge, it's not bad. Maybe my Goodwill Contura, which I know does power up just fine, so I don't. We have power. Not bad. Okay, I did not replace the CMOS battery in this thing apparently, so we're going to go through all that fun busyness and correct that. Yes, so it is August the 9th, 2022. Oh my God, where's the summer gone? And the screen I think is flickering, but hopefully that's just the way I'm looking at it. It is 22:33. Actually got 20 megs of RAM? Not bad. Something is definitely wrong with this display, but it has nothing to do with what we did tonight. There's a cursor on here? No way. It thinks there's a cursor on here. I don't know where the mouse could possibly be on these Contura. You know, there's one you can attach externally, but I don't think you can. And I am going to need a mouse. Oh, there's a mouse. Unfortunately, I gotta restart the computer to get it to see it. TBPS2. There is another disclaimer that I do have to tell you about here. As soon as I get this machine restarted, I will divulge in the disclaimer. If we're really lucky, the mouse will just detect. But nothing ever comes easy. Alright, once we get this computer started up, I will divulge in our my little secret here. Or, it's not a secret, but it's a disclaimer. Function F. Ooh, do I not have that? Yeah, it sees the battery having about 40%. So, what's the little thing I have to tell you about? Well, to be honest, I don't entirely know how this battery gauge is going to work. See, it's already went down to 20%. On the LTE Lite series, if you actually do rebuild one of these batteries with these Panasonics or the Tenergies, the 3800 milliamp ones, the battery meter is a little bit wonky. Such a technical term, I know. But it will read that the battery has 20% left when it really has 70. Or so it seemed, or it will read 30 when it has 80, or 30 when it has 50. You kind of get the drift there, but at least the lights do it. I don't know if these do. That'd be something for a good follow-up video, I think. What does Windows 95 have to tell us about this battery? Are we a left-handed mouse, or are we just being a PETA? Hey, what are you? Oh, that's another working battery. I don't want to do anything bad to that. Alright, I don't know what's going on here, but it is not registering my mouse clicks now, and I am kind of looking at it at a weird angle, so... This is very unusual. I don't know what's going on. Maybe if we click into power? Oh, power don't. Does anything open up? Let's go to my computer and see what happens there. Oh God, I hate this screen. No. Right click. Okay, so we have a very full hard drive for one. Double click doesn't seem to do a darn thing. It is right click. And who knows, there could be some security software on there that's doing some weird stuff. This mouse could be bad. I am not sure. But will it pass the final test? This might be for a concerto, so I am going to not use the concerto one for this. So I'm going to find a Contura first generation AC adapter. There's gobs of them around here. I just gotta find what they all went up to. So as soon as I find one, we'll continue on. Power brick found. I know you can't tell. And, oh, now this is going to charge. It thinks it's charged. So, to be honest, I don't know about this result. We may have to let this run down for a while. Or it just shuts off. Okay, that sucks. This is the other cautionary tale. Don't smell any smoke, magic smoke or anything. Got voltage. So yeah, this might be a rather interesting problem, and we may be completely screwed. That turns on. I have no idea. I'll leave it to charge and we'll see what happens, but I'll let it run down a little bit first, and then we'll try to charge it. and I'll do a follow-up video instead. So with that in mind, you know the whole drill. If you have any questions or comments or constructive criticism, as always, feel free to leave them in the comments section. As always, thank you for watching.